Well, welcome everyone to our Building a Better Mousetrap competition for your locals webinar. Glad you could join us today. And on behalf of the Innovation and Implementation Work Group, I'd like to welcome our guests and thank our presenters once again for taking the time to join us today. So just a couple of things before we get started, and I'll get out of the way. In terms of housekeeping, to keep things moving along, we're going to ask everybody to put questions and comments in the chat box during the presentations, and then we'll do one question and answer session at the end for all four presentations. I think there's going to be probably a lot of overlap in terms of questions and comments from the presenters, so I think that may be the most efficient way to do things. We would like to know a little bit more about who's here. It's hard to record participation sometimes in the session itself. So if everybody could just kind of introduce yourselves in the chat box, put your name and center or other organization that you represent, we would appreciate that. And I think most of you were probably in here when I mentioned that I would start the recording, but we are recording the session. The plan is to share this with everybody after the fact. I know we had a lot of people who probably couldn't get this on the calendars on relatively short notice. So this will go up on YouTube, and we'll share the link in the Google group. So without much further ado, would like to just give an overview of what we're going to talk about today. So we've got four presenters. We're going to start with an overview on the updates made to the Build a Better Mousetrap innovation categories. That's going to be shared with us by Danielle Mathis-Lee and Trinette Ballard from class. Then we're going to hear from the LTAP centers in North Dakota, Colorado, and Louisiana with a kind of a firsthand tale of Build a Better Mousetrap in their own states. And then we'll wrap things up with the Q&A. So with no further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So Danielle, you should be able to bring yours up. And while you're doing that, I want to introduce our next two speakers. So Danielle Mathis-Lee needs no introduction really, but I will. So she's currently a program manager for the FHWA Center for Local Aid Support. In that role, she is responsible for managing the local technical assistance program on behalf of the administration. In her role, she ensures that diverse products, programs, national training, and technical assistance is accessible to local governments and tribes. Danielle is a proud graduate of the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, and holds a bachelor's degree in business administration, hospitality, and human resources. She began her career with FHWA in 2001 as a program assistant for the National Highway Institute. Danielle was born in Fernandina Beach, Florida, to parents in the United States Army, which allowed her the privilege of spending a great deal of her childhood abroad. Danielle finds great joy in being a mom and supporting her community. And our Danielle will be joined by Trinette Ballard. And Trinette is a program manager also with the Federal Highway Administration Center for Local Aid Support in the Office of Innovative Program Delivery. Prior to this role, Ms. Ballard handled all marketing and communications activities in the FHWA Florida Division Office in Tallahassee and Orlando. Throughout her 13-year career with FHWA, Trinette has worked on several major national initiatives, including transportation performance management, Everyday Counts, and workforce development. Before joining FHWA, Ms. Ballard was a communications manager with the city of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hey, go Tennessee. And was a television news producer for NBC. Trinette holds a bachelor's degree in communications, journalism, and a master's degree in public administration, both from the University of Tennessee. Again, go Vols. So with that, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Matt, for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, this is Danielle Mathis-Lee. I'm happy to be with you today and excited to kick off the 2021 Build a Better Mousetrap National Recognition Program. We'll see who caught that. We have changed the title just a little bit. Our legal counsel within Federal Highways has advised us against calling it a competition for legal reasons. So the new name for the program will be the National Recognition Program. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the application process and what we're looking for, and then I'll turn it over to Trinette, who will discuss how we will assist the LTAP centers with marketing the program for 2021. Are you able to see my screen okay, Matt?
Sorry, I was muted. We are seeing your PowerPoint window rather than the presentation itself. If it's easy to switch views.
Let's see what we can do here. Thought we had this all ready to go. Share. All right, how about now?
It is the same, but it works.
Okay.
Just put it into presentation mode.
I thought I did that. Let's see. Presentation. There we go.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. So our National Recognition Program will continue to celebrate and recognize innovations that are innovative solutions for challenges that are developed by local agencies and tribes for local agencies and tribes. Ultimately, these innovations are to increase safety, reduce costs, and improve efficiency within our transportation system. Now, these development of these solutions can range from anywhere from equipment modification, so that's existing equipment, developing new processes, and creating new tools for local agencies and tribes to use to come up with creative solutions to address common issues. The 2021 program categories were tweaked just a bit in conjunction with NLTAPA. We wanted to provide a little more clarity within the definitions. This is an ongoing process. We hope to even further clarify these categories in 2022. But for 2021's program, we plan to honor local agencies in the following categories: innovative project, smart transformation, bold steps, and pioneer. Now, all of the complete details for each of these categories will be available on the class website. Trinette will get a little bit more into what we will have available for the centers on the class site, but these are the categories for this year. Moving forward, we will continue to work with the implementation work group to further define these categories. So you may see a few of the categories combined in 2022, or you may see some different topics, different category titles. The role as the LTAP Center is one, to review the Build a Better Mousetrap guidelines that we've put together. We've updated the manual from last year, and that will be available on the class site. And you might want to take a look at that before if you haven't already launched your local program, your local competition, to make sure that we are in sync with what we want to award in the program, as well as that you're collecting the pertinent information to prepare your application. There is no change in our application process, so the LTAP centers will continue to conduct their local competitions, select applicants, and also select applicant categories that you wish to apply to for the national program. In the past, we would get applicants in, and then our team would then further move those applicants around and place them in categories that we thought they fit better in, and we're no longer going to do that. You know, that is a role of the LTAP Center, so you want to make sure that you are really reviewing those categories so that you can submit your applications into the appropriate category. The application process itself hasn't changed. We're just asking for a little more information on your local agencies and what you're submitting. So that will be within the Build a Better Mousetrap guidelines that are posted on the website. And the due date to Federal Highway, to class, will be June 11th, which puts us a little over a month or so before the NLTAPA annual conference, in which we will, as usual, announce our honorees. That being said, I will turn it over to Trinette to discuss how we'd like to assist with marketing moving forward this year.
Okay, thank you so much, Danielle. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Oh, I can't share it yet. Okay.
Right now, Trinette.
Okay. Let's see. Let me know if you see anything. There we go. Okay, hold on. Here I come now. Okay, do you see the title slide?
Yes, we do.
Wonderful, wonderful. So good afternoon to everyone. As Danielle just said, I am Trinette Ballard. I am one of the program managers in the Federal Highway Administration Center for Local Aid Support. Build a Better Mousetrap is not just a recognition program. It is a community builder. The overall benefits of the program are endless. Build a better mouse, build a better, let me switch screens here. Build a Better Mousetrap honorees are helping to build communities of thought by sharing their innovations with other cities, counties, and states. They are motivating others, they're encouraging collaboration, they're improving industry and how we do business. And of course, the public benefits when safer, more efficient conditions are created at a cost savings. The public definitely benefits from that. So there are a lot of benefits to participating in the Build a Better Mousetrap. Everyone benefits when we can share what we're doing in each other.
Yeah, can you send me the full listing address really quick in Slack? I'll just take a look really.
Okay, someone's mic is up. So today, I'm going to share with you how the Center for Local Aid Support will actually facilitate sharing your stories throughout the year, your Build a Better Mousetrap innovations throughout the year. And so one of the first items that we're going to put out, and I think you all are used to these, the Build a Better Mousetrap booklets. We're already working on the design for 2021. And so there shouldn't be a long wait for the booklet this year. Within the Build a Better Mousetrap booklet, we're going to highlight the 4 honorees for the 2021 national competition in the book. But then we also highlight all of the nominations that were received as well. And so be looking for that in the 2021 Build a Better Mousetrap booklet. What you see on the screen now is the booklet from 2020. The next item, marketing effort that we have planned for 2021 is social media. These are some social media posts for announcing the 2020 winners, the honorees for Build a Better Mousetrap. We've already shown 3. We have a 4th one that will be running pretty soon here. And then we'll also be running some social media just promoting Build a Better Mousetrap. And so we encourage you to go to the Federal Highway Administration social media outlets. We have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, we have Twitter. As you can see on Federal Highway site, we have over 54,000 followers on the Federal Highway LinkedIn site alone. And then we have followers on Facebook and Twitter. So a lot of exposure for the honorees for Build a Better Mousetrap. And we also encourage the LTAPs. You can share these posts in your states too. The more the merrier to help spread the word about who are being spotlighted for Build a Better Mousetrap 2021. Another marketing tool we'll be using is our website. The website has been updated with the current award categories for Build a Better Mousetrap 2021. So I invite you to visit our website, get some information on Build a Better Mousetrap, learn a little bit more about our 2020 honorees. And we also have the booklets from other years beyond 2020. So we have the 2019, 2018, and on down. If any of you are trying to get some ideas for what innovation might be good for 2021. Another tool we'll be using is the class newsletter. Last year, we started distributing an e-newsletter to all of our partners. And as you can see, we have over 112,000 recipients for our newsletter. And we do highlight Build a Better Mousetrap honorees in the newsletter. We tell your stories. We also tell the stories of the nominees, nominations that we received but did not necessarily win a category. We'll be highlighting nominees in our newsletter over the course of the year as well. We're working on our March edition now, and we have some pretty good stories in the work for that as well. And if you like to subscribe to our newsletter, you can do that on our website as well. There is a link to subscribe to our newsletter on the Center for Local Aid website. Another marketing tool is the Innovation Exchange webinars that we hold. We're in the process of putting together a list of topics for later this year. We're looking to start the Innovation Exchange webinars back up in May. I think it's April or May. So be looking out for some information on Innovation Exchange. But we do have a webinar that is specific to Build a Better Mousetrap, where we have all of the honorees talk about their innovation, how they came to be, how they work, what a difference that these innovations have made in those communities. So be looking out for the Innovation Exchange. So there's another benefit and another way to get the word out on what you all are doing in your different communities. And then the newest, latest, and greatest project is the FHWA YouTube channel. As you can see, we have over 12,000 subscribers. We'll be creating a video that highlights the honorees for 2021. So that's a new fun project that we're working on, and we're hoping to get that released following the NLTAPA announcements and everything. So that's another outlet that we'll be using to share the word on what's going on in your communities as far as innovation is concerned through the FHWA YouTube channel. And then the final and other marketing tool that we have is, the honorees are often invited to participate in FHWA special events. The EDC Virtual Summit, which had thousands and thousands of people on, visiting that event. We invite Build a Better Mousetrap to participate in special events and panel discussions and webinars that we might have in Federal Highway to just continue to spread the word about, the great things that's going on out there. So that is the marketing plan for Build a Better Mousetrap for the Federal Highway Administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Trinette. So now that I've given you the details on how to apply and the program and the categories, and Trinette has laid out to you the benefits and how we'll assist with marketing, we hope that you spread the excitement about the Build a Better Mousetrap National Program and that you are excited in participating. And we look forward to reviewing those submittals that are sent in. And Matt, Trinette, and I will stick around for questions at the end if anyone has any questions. And thank you for allowing us to participate today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And just a reminder to everybody, we are going to try to hold questions to the end, just in the interest of time. So Leanna and Dale, if you all want to go ahead and pull your slides up while I do your intro, we'll move things along. So our next presentation is going to come from the North Dakota LTAP Center, and we're excited to have them joining us. So we're going to be hearing from Dale Hegland and Ianna Emmer today, and I'll introduce both of them before they get started. All right, Dale is the North Dakota LTAP Program Director. He is licensed as both a professional engineer and a professional land surveyor. He has 40 plus years of transportation experience, ranging from an equipment operator to a design engineer. His career focus has been to promote quality roadway network by helping others understand roadway engineering principles, the synergies of working cooperatively with others, leadership skills, and new technology implementation processes. Ianna Emmer is the North Dakota LTAP State Technical Representative and Truck Weight Expert. She has 30 plus years working in the North Dakota Vehicle Size and Weight Department, for the North Dakota Highway Patrol. She was the liaison between the Highway Patrol and the North Dakota DOT in that time. At the North Dakota LTAP Center, she has the opportunity to serve as a resource and consultant to local government transportation officials. She also serves as an instructor and trainer for the LTAP Center. So with that, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you everyone for giving Dale and I the opportunity to share with you today what North Dakota is doing with the BABM competition program. What is working for North Dakota and why this program and the competition is so important for local government entities. And let's see if we can move this along. There we go. So our Build a Better Mousetrap program was coined the You Show Us contest for many years. And we assisted local agencies with their submissions and it worked. But we looked at it and we thought, okay, is there anything that we can do better? And if we can, how? We started by changing our brochure. And so the brochure you see in front there, we added not just the winners on the brochure, but also all the innovations that had been submitted for that particular year. Building a culture of innovation. What has made building a better mousetrap work in North Dakota? And so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what have we done to move to the next level and how can we take it even further? And then why is it so important at the local government level? So what's in a name? What is in a name? Everything. Looking at the program name, North Dakota You Show Us, we thought, can we change this? Can we change this name? It's been this for many years, and are we going to lose interest? Well, we decided, yeah, we can. But so that started the reset process on thinking, what is it that we want to change? What is the message that we're trying to put out there? We wanted to have a program that would create a picture or create an image in the minds of our customers, something that they wanted to be a part of. So was it a picture on building a mousetrap? Was it a picture of someone showing us something random? Or could it be something more? What's in a name? Everything. Could it be creating innovation champions, rebranding the focus? So that's what we did. We changed our name from You Show Us to Innovation Champions, because our focus was going to be on focusing on the champions themselves. Not that we weren't focusing on the innovations, but recognizing that it's the champions that create those innovations. And so this was a huge leap forward for us in celebrating the innovations that were put out. It was the road to innovation.
Wow. So now we've got a new name, new brochure. We just mail those out and the program takes care of itself, right? Innovation and innovation champion. No, these programs take effort. And so to start, the secret for success, number one secret is to find that champion for our innovation champions. And Leanna's a perfect person for it. Her vocabulary, impressive, our heroes, phenomenal. Those are the words that she doesn't just throw out frivolously. They're the terms that she uses to passionately describe our customers, the roles that they take, the innovations that they come up with. And Trinette, I think you mentioned that part of this is community builder, right? That relationship building. And so when you said that, and that it's more of a recognition now program than a contest, I love both those aspects. They fall right into line with the change in the name and where we're headed. And Leanna, one thing that really comes to mind to sell both of those points, or to share the story on both of those points, is your description of Renville County and how you're planning to help them. Do you mind sharing that story with everyone?
I'd love to share that story. So yesterday, Renville County they have a pretty new road superintendent. He's been there probably 2 or 3 years. And when he came on board, I had the opportunity to meet with him, visit with him. He'd been with the county for probably about 15 years. I started working for LTAP back in 2014. And so anyway, getting back to Renville County, initially when I talked to Sean, he's the road superintendent, I said to him, Sean, you know, I know you guys have innovations here that you have come up with. And keep in mind, he's not totally new to the county. He's familiar with items that they have fabricated and equipment or modifications. And so he just kind of pulled back and wasn't really forthcoming. And I figured, well, maybe it had something to do with being new. Being here, as long as I have now, it's like I can see that it's connecting with these local road crews. It's building that relationship. It's the relationship that makes a difference. So yesterday, when I called him, I said, you know, I'm coming through next week and I'd like to stop in, see what's happening. We can talk about grit. And he's got an innovation that I know they have over there. And I said, and I'd love to write up the innovation for for Renville County. I want to put you guys on the map. And he said, all right. And so it was getting the buy-in from him, but it was really, I think it's, you know, it's cultivating that relationship. It's cultivating the relationships across the state with these counties. So yeah, that's the bottom line. It's about relationships. And at that point, I believe that they're more apt to saying, yeah, I'll let you help me with that. Yeah, we can move forward with that. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. So how do you go about spreading? We're going to start talking about getting the message out there on how do we go about finding innovations? Well, we spread the word. And we actually spread the word by reaching out to our advisory board, county commissioners, the road superintendents, and the associations for both city, county, and tribal. And tell them, hey, you know, we're asking them to help us share, encourage entities to share their innovations in the contest. We challenge them to seek out innovations by going there to at the local level. And we basically reach out and tell them that we are there to help. We also reach out to local government entities by conferences, phone calls, and emails. So our LTAP team, every single one of them knows that it's like there are innovations out there that each county has. And so each LTAP team member is challenged to bring an innovation on board, get a county on board. The LTAP advisory board, at an LTAP advisory board meeting a couple of years ago, we threw out the challenge to the board members to reach out to county and city crews and encourage them to participate in the program. Because the program isn't just about submitting an innovation. The innovators out there, they learn as they're going along with these innovations. And so we encourage our LTAP advisor to get into the local offices, shops, visit the projects, and become part of that local network. And again, by doing that, they create the relationship with those local government entities who are then more apt to say, yeah, I do have an innovation that I'd like to share with you. So once the word gets out that the project submissions are pouring in, once our team gets out there and the word is out, the project submissions just start pouring in. Is that what happens for you guys? We wish, don't we? In reality, it's the repeat innovators that continually will jump in and submit an innovation. But we know that there are tons of innovations out there. The innovators, the ones that aren't, they can be quite humble. And so they don't want to really brag about an innovation that they see it as bragging, but really it isn't. So it means that we need to continue to reach out to them, whether it's emails or phone calls, building those relationships. And then as we find those innovations, I jump in and I tell them I will help. I'll do the heavy lifting. And that in itself seems to relieve a lot of these guys. I mean, I offer to help, but in all probability, they do a lot of the work. It's like, I'll tell them, I'll write it up, I'll take the pictures, I'll do the video. One of the things that we added, and you'll see a little bit later, is we asked them to draw up a schematic of their innovation. They do that as well. It's amazing. I think the bottom line is they know that someone's got their back, and from that point, they move forward. Our selection committee is quite diverse. This group of judges, they're phenomenal. And I love that they're from Federal Highway, from North Dakota DOT and North Dakota and the county, because each one brings a different perspective. So when we get together and we go through each innovation, watching the videos, they always have awesome questions. And needless to say, the innovators, I have them on standby so that it's like it's not a question that I can answer, I get them on the phone and they love talking about their innovation. The selection team, we involve them in the award ceremony and we recognize their contribution. And I'm hoping that we can actually include them more when we do some further recognition. So recognition, what's that about? Oops, okay, there we go. Oh, okay, one ahead of myself. Recognition, it's celebration of the innovators, celebration of the innovation, but even more so, recognition of those innovators who are phenomenal. I have to say that when I first started doing this, I was so impressed with these guys in that they build these innovations, they design, they develop them, they see where there is a need, and they come up with it. And a lot of them, they have limited manpower, their budgets are constrained. So again, impressive. That's all I can say. So we recognize each submission by presenting them with a 2x3 foot poster. This poster is usually on a foam board so that it can be hung up or freestanding. And it includes the innovation, the county or local government entity that it came from. It includes a picture of the innovators as well as the name of the innovation. And it is a great morale booster. They can put it up in their shop. If they have an event going on at the county level, it's something that they can put out for display. And it's a really proud moment for them to receive these posters. Darn, rodents love to plug culverts. I think every single local government entity and state level, it doesn't matter, wherever you find a culvert, you're going to find beaver. So this particular innovation came from Trail County, and it was our winner for 2020. And I know that there's probably multiple pipe cleaners out there that have been designed and developed. This year, after our contest and handing out the posters, I sent an email out to all the road superintendents across the state just to let them know these were the innovations from 2020. And I received calls from a few counties asking about this particular innovation. And if you look at the schematic on here, I mean, the innovators, they drew it themselves. I looked at the materials and compared them to make sure that everything was covered and probably add a little bit here or there, but they came up with this schematic. So it's a phenomenal innovation that they came up with. It's a quick attach to a backhoe that most counties already have. Here we have the motor grader step. I love this innovation. It's simple, it's easy, and it screams safety. This innovation came from Golden Valley, and there are catwalks typically on this big equipment that is between the wheel well and the wall of the equipment itself. So a lot of these operators, they're probably a little bigger in size, or they're tall. And so to squat down, to get inside, to see the fluids, to check the fluids becomes a challenge. Golden Valley came up with this simple and easy innovation. And isn't that schematic phenomenal? I mean, it looks like an architect drew it. So I love this innovation. It's simple and it's easy. And I know too that he has already shared it with Montana. When they saw it, they said, you know what? We're going to put that on all our equipment. And so it's a savings, it's a safety thing, and it's also a savings in equipment because these guys are more apt to, you can more easily check the fluids on that equipment. And then we have the Culvert Rack. This innovation was designed and fabricated using bridge beams, bridges that had to come down, and they now are able to stack their culverts off of the ground, which is phenomenal. So it saves on their product. And what I really like about this innovation, and if you can see my mouse here, this little bracket or tubing underneath here was deliberately put up there so that this end is higher and it holds the racks in place. And you know, here in North Dakota, we have wind, so isn't that, or it holds the culverts in place. So here in North Dakota, that's phenomenal because the culverts aren't blowing around anymore. Our advisory board, each board member brings a unique perspective to the table. Our county lead, who is Al Heiser from Stark County, he's a road superintendent. He brings common sense, boots on the ground assessment to our judging process. So not only is he on our advisory board, but he's one of our judges. And he is an amazing advocate for the county employees and promotes individual growth as well as team achievements. He promotes learning in a way that innovation is part of his learning plan. And so the Culvert Rack was one that they put in last year. Our North Dakota LTAP webpage makes it easy for others to copy innovations. We keep data in there dating all the way back to 1995. And the picture you see here is of our website is up to 2014, but actually we have our innovations out there up to 2020. So all the information about each innovation, as far as the materials used, the schematics, there's videos on the more recent ones so that others can actually use it to create and make these innovations themselves. So what's in the name? Everything is. Make it your own and brand it.
So Leanna mentioned that everyone is a winner, and the recognition for all of the nominations, it's now going national. I love that. We have that in process, and it's very fruitful. Everyone's a winner. So everyone gets a poster from Leanna, and here you can see Leanna's handing, no, it's not Leanna, it's another team member. We're involving the full team, whether it's our advisory board, our LTAP team, and others, to help hand off the posters, but we just don't hand them off. We actually go to county commission meetings and tell the story of how talented and some of the efforts and innovative practices that their road crew are putting into place. Because quite frankly, the leadership just doesn't know. They're not involved on the day-to-day activity, and our operators, our county, city, and local crews, very humble. So they're not strong advocates of self. They don't brag. So we need to help tell that story, and we do that at commission meetings, sharing information about their talents. Next slide, please. And since it is our own program, and Leanna just started with the posters, well, who says that we can't rewrite some of the other rules? So the posters, we backtracked and actually looked back to other years and presented some of the posters for some of the other cool innovations and areas that Leanna wanted to really grow, nurture that innovation mentality or team spirit in a locality. So we can go back, we can change the rules. We're making up the rules. So do whatever works for your state, your group. Next slide, please. Now, everyone likes attention, right? You ask somebody, hey, we've got this award for you. Can we come in and present this in front of your crew, in front of the commission? And again, humble people are not going to be ecstatic about that. They may be inclined to say no. So do the assumptive process and just assume that you have their blessing and move forward with it, because in fact, we all like the recognition. We like the recognition in front of our peers, in front of the public, in front of others. And in front of the public, a good way to do that would be to get the press in, to have the press there to highlight a picture. Here you see a picture of Randy and Joe, and how many times are they in the paper? Not nearly enough. If we can be the conduit to help get them just a little bit of that recognition that they so deserve, wow, this program is a home run, because as Leanna mentioned, it's about the innovation, but more so, it's about the innovator. Those two gentlemen right there that created that pipe rack. And then, if you really want to go to the next step, if you would, please, thank you. Everyone wants to give a speech, right? Everyone in the world wants to give an acceptance speech. Now we've got an audience of 400 plus. Randy, Joe, come on up. And we'd like you to give an acceptance speech. And they're going to say, oh yeah, I'd like to do that, right? If you ask them, they probably will decline, because most people don't have that desire to get up in front. They have a fear. So again, use an assumptive that everyone wants to give an acceptance speech and make it happen. Please don't rob anyone of that acceptance speech, because it can be as simple as this. In front of 400 people, you get up, you accept your award, and you say, thank you. That's your acceptance speech. It can be that simple. So everyone can give one. They hopefully elaborate more, but if they don't rob them of that. Let them say thank you in front of their peers.
So true, Dale. And it's like acceptance speech and pictures. Take tons of pictures of the champs and their innovations. It's like recognition of these innovations for local government entities. Take the extra step. It's so important. And I guess too, looking at it, it's like the innovations, they benefit everybody. So these guys do deserve the kudos. They deserve all the praise for putting that extra effort in. These guys are exceptional. Oh, let me mention one. And here at our regional conference a few years back in 2019 is Tim Geinert. And I'm going to talk to him about him in a minute because they also took nationals as well. But next to him at the award presentation is his wife, Jan. Awesome. Involving the family. National winner. Make a goal to be a national winner. Make a goal to submit your innovations in international competition and make it a goal to be a national winner. In North Dakota, that goal was made a couple years ago at one of our leadership classes, and boom, in 2020, it happened. We were so proud. North Dakota, Lemoore County became a national winner. And so with that being said, what we did was when Tim was presenting on this at the national level, I sent out an email, or we should reached out to all the Lemoore County partners. In other words, all the people at the Lemoore County Highway Department, the courthouse, letting them know that, hey, you guys have a national winner in your mess. And it's like you can watch him present on this, his innovation. We also reached out to the county commissioners and road superintendents across the state to let them know that it's like North Dakota was national. Now, this innovation was a modification to a previous innovation. And that's the phenomenal thing. Oops, sorry. Here you have the gravel saver disc, and I'm just going to move my mouse right here. And behind there is the spring load arm that Tim came up with. So the gravel saver disc was a previous innovation that had been shown at the regional conference in previous years. And so Tim looked at that. When he saw it the previous years, he loved it. So they got one in Lemoore County. But they had concerns with it because it fit rigidly on the moldboard. And so he contacted the South Dakota innovator and asked him, he said, you know, this is what's happening. And it's like, would you mind what do you think about this idea? And would you mind if I retro modified it? And the guy was exhilarated by it because he knew that there was an issue with it. And so celebrate the past. On here is another modification, the wheel rake. The wheel rake used to be rigid on this frame, and it still is. But what they did was they added hydraulics so that they put a swing arm on it so they could put it on either side of the road. Again, another modification based on a previous innovation. So I'm going to play a video here for you. And this was taken with a drone. That's the other thing. It's like, if you have a drone, I mean, cameras are awesome, but if you can use a drone to take and it looks like it's kind of sketching along here, but. So the spring load arm is right there, and you can see that it's actually moving. I suppose I can move this along because it could be painful trying to watch the whole thing at this slow pace. It's only a minute. But this video is available on our website. And so, and there is also a schematic with this, the spring load arm. Okay. All right, so I will try and take it to the next page here. Oh, there we go, we're starting over. So innovations have evolved. This is an innovation back in 1995, done in Burleigh County. It's a barricade trailer, basically used to transfer barricades from the shop out to sites. It's evolved. innovations have no borders. So it's important that centers seek out innovations around the state, around the country, and then share them with one another. Dale shared one with me not too long ago, and I shared it with all the road superintendents because I thought it was so awesome, where it was a sprinkler system set up to wash the bottoms of equipment. So innovations, there are no borders for them. And it's important that we share it. Focus area, innovations. Our state competition, we don't have categories. So as the winners move from the state level to the regional level and onto the national level, our LTAP, I basically refine it to fit into one of the categories as set out by federal highway.
Promoting these incredible innovations. We're the best person, the best group to share that info, and where, to who, and how. True North Steel, the Culvert Rack that Leanna showed you.
Sorry.
It was a great, you're fine. It was a great example of how we can share that message and help a company preserve their inventory with the locals and also extend and share our message, our innovation from a local county to others. And then recognizing efforts. In this example, one of our counties decided, hey, for retroreflectivity, why don't I on a cloudy day take a bright light and shine on the signs and see how that works? They were a nomination, they didn't even win, but recognizing the incredible, just the simple solution to evaluating signs and making sure that signs are of good quality, we leveraged. And what we did is we put together a paper on how to, next slide, please, on how to evaluate that process. And when we did that, we took it up to the county. And so Connie and Kenny, if you would, next slide, please. Connie and Kenny at the commission meeting got to be celebrated for their innovation. Their commissioners didn't have a clue they did this. And taking it one step further, we wanted to make sure that the press was there. And the press got to brag about their employees that were doing exceptional work. We took Kenny to conferences. We had him as the champion explaining the process to others across the state. And then we took it nationally. We took it all across the country and helped people understand what this could mean to have safer, better roadways through better signing. And then we took it down a step. We took it down to the township level, where we showed township officers how they could quickly check those signs that were marginal or that they didn't know, and without a nighttime inspection or using other processes. It's simple, it's fast, it works. So helping the innovator just sell and expand and recognize. If you look in the upper left, it says Burke County. Everything we do on this project goes back to Burke County. Connie and Kenny get messages every single week from our office, letting them know who is using this, how. They are great sounding boards. They offer great response back. Recognizing their talents. When Kenny first explained his project, he was so humble. He just shared it as if it were nothing. We're just, well, anybody could do it. And quite frankly, Leanna's program with the champions, they are champions, and we need to help them be recognized.
And I just want to mention, Dale mentioned their champions and their gems they're gems. I mean, it's like they're undiscovered, they're experts in what they do. They're very humble about it. And so this Innovation Champions program is an awesome way to recognize them. Whether, like Dale said, whether they win or not, it doesn't matter. It's the recognition because they're doing a great job. So just to recap, rebranding. The title for your program, does it fit for your state, for your customers? Find a champion out there, someone that will make the extra effort to find those projects. Create a road of innovation culture. Blend it into your entire LTAP program and create a program that the customers want to be a part of. Celebrate. Tell your story, tell their story to the newspaper or TV or radio, to the county commissioners. Get that information out there and then strive to take it to strive for the national recognition. Involve as many, tap into others, reach outside of the LTAP team, go to advisory boards, whoever you work with, and challenge them to find those innovators and evolve. The program, these guys deserve it. The program deserves to continue to evolve because these guys are worth it. They are gems in hiding. And so adapt that program to the best fit for your customers and make it your own program. Our locals are awesome. Create a program to celebrate them. And so here's our contact information. I would also encourage each of you to go onto our website, ndltap.org, and you can look at the resources page where we will, is our innovation champion winners or basically participants. So thank you. And Dale, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Nice job. You're a perfect champion for our innovation champions. Thank you for the opportunity, Matt and group. Thank
you.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the sharing and love the poster idea. That is a great touch. All right. As I move on here, want to give our last two groups of presenters heads up that we have about 30 minutes left. So please watch the clock as we go. I think we're still in pretty good shape, but be a little tight at the end. And so Renee, you should be able to share your screen right now. Fingers crossed that works. And while you do that, I will go ahead and make your introduction. Yes, here we go. So Renee Railsback is the director of the Colorado Ltap Center. She included in her bio that she's still hanging on. And I don't know, I think it's not so much a matter of her hanging on as her, the people around the LTAP Center making the right choice and passing their first test by keeping her in that role, in my mind. But Renee has been with the center now for over 20 years and has recently begun implementing the program at a new college host. Renee's focus areas at LTAP include preparing local agencies for disaster response, sign inventory management, and a new associate's degree in highway maintenance management. Renee is also the Colorado APWA immediate past president and their APWA alternate chapter delegate. So with that, Renee, the floor is yours.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Matt. Got to remember to unmute. So I'm going to focus on how we help to implement innovation on local roads here in Colorado. And oftentimes, I believe it comes down to that old saying of how do you eat an elephant? And this is how you have to deal with it with local agencies. It's one bite at a time. So this may take patience, trust, and perseverance. So how do you get the wheels and the gears turning? This gears theme actually was developed when we started our local innovation implementation summit a couple of years ago. And my motto for that summit was turning innovation into practice. And that's why I started with the gears theme. So I incorporate it often in my presentations that promote innovation on the local roads. So how do we get those gears turning amongst the locals? Well, I usually start with trying to create the buy-in on why they need to be innovating. And I often remind them, well, if we didn't innovate, we might still be using plows like this. Agencies are very competitive, is what I found, at least in Colorado. So if you recognize or promote one agency for what they've done, you'll often hear, well, we did that years ago, or we did that better. And then I often retort, well, then show us, because you haven't shown us that you are doing these similar things. And it does ignite them to submit more, to want to show you what they're also doing. And I also like to promote in my presentations that I do around the state, I like to recognize them if they were a state winner or a regional winner in our regional contest or a national winner, because they are very competitive and they'll want to show that they can do it too. Well, I'm an equal opportunity exploiter. So I would say, like often LTAPs do, is steal and reuse. Oftentimes, I'll always take the opportunity to include in any presentation or session I'm doing around the state some form of local innovation. So this one in particular came out of a innovation in winter maintenance session that I was doing at a county conference. And I particularly like this one from Delaware, and they have a short 2 or 3 minute video online of the innovator talking about his third eye program. And I actually incorporate that video into my sessions when I'm promoting the local innovations at conferences. Always, always include local innovations that gear toward the topic that you're asked to talk about, is what I say. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube these days. Also, we're not above bribery here in Colorado. That's the secret to our success. So this is a copy of our contest brochure. I did chuckle a little bit throughout North Dakota's presentation because you'll start to notice some commonalities between our successes and our programs. And so she mentioned the You Show Us contest. I did want to emphasize for people who might be new to the program on where that You Show Us title came from. So it is a version of FHWA's original program that was called Show Us How, that contest that started in 1994. So we include a little blurb about that on our brochure to give validity that this is a long-standing program that we're continuing to support. A couple of things I want to promote on our brochure that I think are important, just like North Dakota mentioned, is highlighting those previous program winners. So on the outside of our brochure, we include the winning project from the previous year. So that would be 2018's winner for this 2019 contest brochure. And then on the inside, you'll notice on that wave that we promote or include the winners from the 4 previous years as well. And then also that photo of us with the awards with the locals is actually from that South Dakota Local Roads Conference, where we present the state and regional awards to the winners. The bribery comes in, is we're at the bottom of that brochure. I say, win a travel stipend. So we will sponsor 2 participants from the winning agency to attend that local road conference in South Dakota in order to receive their state awards. I do also recommend that you develop an innovations page on your website. So this is what ours look like. We highlight the national local agency innovations through FHWA's Build a Better Mousetrap competition and include a link to the PDF of the previous year's brochures. Then we have a section for Colorado local agency innovations. And the third is a program of CDOTs that is very similar to our You Show Us contest, and theirs is called Lean Everyday Innovations and Ideas. Then on the right-hand side of this web page of ours is a link to those winners and runner-ups, runner-up projects that provide more details about their projects that they can download. Right now we have posted up until 2012. Then on our page, up in the upper right, you'll see a link that says submit an innovation. So you want to make it as easy as possible for them to be able to submit their ideas. So if they're on their page looking at one of these other initiatives, they'll be inspired to submit their own, even if they didn't get our brochure. And this just shows how short that form is. And it basically is each of the sections that we ask for, such as the problem statement, the solution, the labor, equipment, and materials used, the cost, and the savings to the agency. And then from here, they can also upload their photos, a PDF or a Word document. So basically they can do their whole submission online here. Then we also use the LTAP advisory board as our judges. And this is what their form looks like. There is a little introductory paragraph that goes along with this, but they're asked to rate the projects and by these criteria that are listed here. And these kind of parallel, if you're a part of your STIC, this is our criteria that we use in Colorado to evaluate our STIC innovations for funding. So we also like to encourage our local agencies to submit their local projects for STIC funding and additional implementation throughout their agencies. One of my jobs for that local roads conference that our region hosts is to physically acquire the awards for the group. So these are some great, what I call plaques or awards that we provide at that local roads conference in South Dakota. There are two different versions. It's hard to tell in this image, but the diamond plate comes in two different color bases. We have a silver for each of the state winning projects, and then we have a gold based award for the ultimate regional winner. So each of the state's winners gets one of these awards. The guys love these, they like them. They physically do have those bolts in them, and that's how the award stands up. But if anyone's interested in how to get some of these awards for your competitions, let me know. My plaque person would be more than willing to help you guys out. Arapahoe County is one of our agencies that has submitted and won at each of the state, regional, and national level with different projects a couple of times. And this is partly due to their Thought Spot initiative. Some of you may have recently seen Arapahoe County present for class on their culture of innovation that they have at their agency. It provides staff at all levels an opportunity to suggest improvements with a physical location at their agency called the Thought Spot. What this is a large board where employees can pin their ideas no matter the cost or the complexity. But what's most important is that with this board, employees can visually track the status of the consideration of their idea as it moves through the different phases of consideration at their agency. So this poster board shown is just an example of the board that is actually at their agency. But when an employee has an idea for consideration or an innovation, they put it on the ideas section of the board. And then as management and leadership go by, they'll read these ideas. If they see one for consideration or discussion, they'll move it to the next section. And those ideas physically that each staff person wrote get move throughout this board and the employee has a visual on how their idea is being addressed and funded. And it moves from idea to discussion to implementation. And this is a quote from Doug Stern, who presented for Arapahoe County for class. But one I want to point out is how he emphasizes that they also tie this process to employee reviews and evaluations, and you are creating the motivation. And then that's when they really get to see some good ideas coming out. I also want to highlight another agency's culture of innovation. So La Plata County, which is in the southwest corner of Colorado, near Durango, that's where Durango is. They have a program, they have an actual innovation team, and they strive to create a culture of innovation through empowering their staff organization-wide to implement more innovation and creativity. They encourage their staff to creatively think about how and why they do what they do, and to critically assess how that process might be improved. They have developed a 4-hour innovation training that 100% of the staff has to be trained in this concept, which provides a framework for innovating and tools to support innovations and to develop staff with their own skills for process improvement and how to problem solve the issues that they may be having. And in their own words, they say one of the most important things is to celebrate by sharing. And they have developed the innovation banner to promote coworkers' innovations and an innovation video, which celebrates the innovations that their employees have come up with. There is a short video online that I'm not going to show right now, but you can search for it online that talks about their program. But I encourage other agencies to look into implementing similar programs. This is from that innovation program where they say the magic and creativity to innovate comes from the employees who do the work. And that's really important. Sorry. Then another thing I think is really important is, as was mentioned by North Dakota, is allowing them the opportunity to share their innovations. So these are some photos from our Innovation Summit, where we invited some of the local agencies to present on their You Show Us contest winning projects, or the Build the Better Mousetrap winning projects. And at first I was nervous, like I'm asking people to bring this large equipment from anywhere around the state at their own cost. And I was shocked that they are more than willing, and they were honored and excited to participate. I couldn't believe some of the areas of the state where they brought this equipment from, and they were so excited to do it. And ultimately, not surprising, is that this exhibit was voted the most popular favorite exhibit at the summit was the local agency projects. And we also made these posters for each of the local agency innovations. And then we asked the innovators to also be present at a booth to answer questions from the conference attendees. Their only complaint was that they wish there had been more of the local agency projects represented, which was in a sense our fault of not inviting more to attend. Again, when I'm presenting around the state, I never let an opportunity go by to incorporate. If you're going to do a presentation about making them take another something new on, a new project on, make sure you provide some information on how they can fund it. So I always incorporate some information on some funding areas or opportunities where they, if they develop these great ideas, You Show Us or Build a Better Mousetrap solutions, how can they fund implementation of doing it? These are two of the more popular ones, the state STIC funding and the technology transfer funds. But then I also like to take it, I do have 5 others. I think there's a total of 7 funding opportunities that I promote when I'm doing a session around the state that are good for innovation implementation. And then I also will provide an example of other local agencies that have won money to implement some innovations. So you can encourage them and say, see, your peers are doing this and getting this money. And our LTAP has used both STIC and technology transfer funds like T2 for the equipment, the retroreflectometers and such like that. So always promote those opportunities. I did want to mention, although this is a CDOT program, the reason it's important is, so I mentioned earlier CDOT's Lean program, Lean Everyday Innovations. And that's a program that they have very similar types of low volume, local road type projects. They have over 108 innovations online that are system improvements, technology, and personal performance improvement. And what's important is that CDOT's Office of Process Improvement a couple of years ago had won one of those STIC grants to fund replication of these Mousetrap type solutions for distribution and implementation on local roads. Now, what's really important about that is that if LTAP was not at the table on our STIC council, which I am, you can't influence implementation of resources for local roads such as this. I'm sure my big mouth has had some influence on CDOT providing this service for the local agencies, which was a big deal. And in addition to just thinking, oh, that this is a great thing that the DOT did, it sets a great example for the local agencies that the DOT does value these type of ideas and innovations, and they're doing it too. And if the DOT is going to be receiving funding for these type of solutions, then why can't the local agencies be receiving it too? And let's make sure they realize that. This poster may look familiar to you. Well, the local agencies need to trust that you value their efforts, and you need to continue to show them that what they do matters. This is one of the posters that we submitted to the recent EDC Summit. And through participation on our STIC Council, I was able to secure the local agencies 8 of those Colorado EDC Summit posters. And this is just one of them. And when I contacted the local agencies that their You Show Us projects would be highlighted at the national level, several of them were blown away that other agencies around the country would even care about what they're doing in their local town. And that makes a difference.
Hey, Renee, this is Matt. We're running a little close
Okay.
on time. If hopefully you're close.
Yep. Sorry, just 2 left. So I do want to mention, because I'm so involved with APWA, that these is the list of their top 5 trending technologies moving forward. So we could see how we can help them, promote them, and incorporate them for the locals. They'll be doing a lot of workshops, reporter articles, etc. But that's a 2-way street. And I want to make sure you're promoting your local agency projects and their winners in APWA's newsletter at the local level, because you want to make innovating become second nature for the locals. So constantly be hitting them up with these ideas. And then, as I said, most importantly, take the time to recognize them in front of their elected officials. This is Arapahoe County's full county commissioner board where I presented their national Mousetrap award. And later, the public works director later commented and said, 2 weeks after you presented to the commission, they unanimously accepted our proposed budget. And he remarked, I attribute that to LTAP's recognition of our department's achievements, both nationally and locally, and we couldn't have done it without you. So I'll always conclude by reminding them that technology is changing the industry, the LTAP can help, and we're here for them. So how can you get your gears turning? Let's take the first step and implement your own program. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Renee. Appreciate that. All right, we are, as we make the transition here to our last presenters, want to note that we are probably going to run a little bit long. So if anybody has any burning questions, we're going to get a link to a recording of this webinar out as soon as we can after the fact. So if you, especially if you have to step out a little bit early and you've got a question, if you put that in the chat box, we'll make sure that that is discussed, and we'll share that information with everybody after the fact. So Chris and Dina, if you're ready to pull up your presentation, I will go ahead and begin your introductions. All right, so our first presenter from Louisiana LTAP Center is going to be Chris Melson. Chris is the program manager of the Louisiana LTAP Center, which provides training and technical assistance to local public agents, local public works and transportation agencies across Louisiana. Previously, Chris managed Transset, a transportation research center involving 11 academic institutions across 5 states, including Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. He also worked for the Federal Highway Administration at the Turner Fairbanks Highway Research Center, where he developed and managed their traffic analysis, modeling, and simulation research program. He received his master's degree in engineering from the University of Texas at Austin and his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Wyoming. Our second presenter today, or in our last presentation at least, is going to be Rudina Capone. And Rudina, or Dina, has 20 years of combined experience in public sector leadership, public relations, marketing, and highway safety program implementation. She now works as Louisiana LTAP's Innovation and Technology Transfer Manager, where she handles LTAP's communications, outreach, innovation, and leadership development efforts. She previously served as a regional safety coordinator of South Central Planning and Development Commission in Houma. Sorry if I got that wrong, you can correct me. Where she took the lead in the implementation of Louisiana's Strategic Highway Safety Plan across 6 parishes of the South Central region. Prior to migrating to the US, Dina worked as an English news writer, public speaking coach, and a professional event host. She graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's degree in mass communications in 2001 and earned her Master of Public Administration degree from Louisiana State University in 2019. So with that, Chris and Dina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Matt, for the kind introduction. Just want to check if you can hear me and you can see my screen.
Yes and yes.
Okay, very good. And I will try to hurry up a little bit. I know we are running out of time. I do want to say first, though, Dale and Leanna, I think you guys should maybe start a motivational speaker team. You really got us pumped up for innovation. That was very good. And so we'll be talking about our efforts to establish our local competition starting in late 2018 and in early 2019. We are a kind of a newcomer to Build-A-Bear Mousetrap. And so I was really impressed with both North Dakota and Colorado LTAP's programs, especially Colorado. So it was very mature and successful programs. And we, again, just started. So hopefully you can still learn a few things. I've already identified a couple common themes already in the first 2 presentations that actually will also reflect in ours. Let me change the slide. There we go. And I first want to start out the presentation. I actually, when I learned about this webinar, I wanted to see what we've done in the past. And I actually went through all of our old newsletters, all the way from the beginning. I don't know if you've done that recently or if you've never done that. It's actually, I think, a great way to get perspective, and also you find a lot of Easter eggs in here. So I was looking really to see what we've done to solicit, local innovations and to disseminate that in the newsletter specifically. So one of the first things that I found was in 1989, where we were requesting innovations really to be part of this video editions that was to be developed by the Pennsylvania DOT. So they were soliciting ideas that would eventually turn into videotapes that the Pennsylvania DOT would produce. And this is the first time I've heard of that. But if anyone has more information about that, feel free to share that in the chat. I thought that was interesting. The next thing, really throughout the 90s, and of course, even through today, we have highlighted local innovations in our newsletter. These are two examples from 1994. Again, I'll go a little quick. The first time, again, for Louisiana LTAP, where we did look at essentially a version of Build a Better Mousetrap was in 2003. And this is, I totally stole our article title as our presentation title, where we were looking for a better crawfish trap. And in part of that newsletter, it shows an example of what they were looking for. It shows the form. At this time, there's two categories, one for devices and essentially one for everything else. And also that year, we gave out an award, honestly, the coolest name for the award ever. We gave out the first ever Golden Crawfish Trap Award, which was, again, based off of those solicitations previously. And this, I think, is the first time we've done it. I think it was the only time we've done it, unfortunately. But at that time, we presented the award at our NACE affiliate, LPSA fall seminar in Houma. We were just talking about Houma. And then essentially, we, again, tried our best to develop our local program in 2018, 2019. I think I will, due to time, skip. I had a few poll questions, but I think I'll skip those poll questions. Again, for the sake of time. And so what we did, we partnered with, as I mentioned, our NACE affiliate, LPSA, which is the Louisiana Parish Engineers and Supervisors Association. And I wanted to give a little bit of background information about LPSA. As I mentioned, they're a NACE affiliate. They're also a police jury affiliate. This is a map. We have 64 parishes, not counties, 64 parishes in Louisiana, and 32 of them are part of LPSA. There's 6 municipalities, and there's also 25 associate members, which are private companies. So really, for a group like this, a very reasonable representation across the state in terms of local public works departments. The main activities that LPSA does, there's several activities, but it's mainly hosting the fall and spring conferences. And this is just an example of agenda of a conference. Includes really important state legislative updates that would impact locals. So kind of a legislative update. Also any state DOT related updates that again would affect the locals, and also a blending of also technical materials as well. Again, they are a very strong partner for us, definitely. And we have an agreement where the LTAP director is the secretary of LPSA. We do provide a lot of assistance, really a lot of assistance in organizing their conferences and their events, even their board activities. But it's definitely a two-way street where we do definitely have benefit. We advertise our trainings. We develop really nice working relationships with the locals, again, across the state. And so the beginning of our, when we wanted to develop our local competition, came at a session in the 2018 LPSA conference. And I was going to play this video, but again, I think for the sake of time, maybe I can play it and just mute it and I'll talk over it. So during that session, we showcased this innovation, which is a 3-minute video. It's actually a very well done and simple video. This is kind of why I wanted to show it, where they explained the innovation simply and then showed how it worked. So we showed essentially this innovation, again, a local Louisiana innovation at that session. And then we asked folks to brainstorm a little bit about what innovations that you may have, and then talked as in a discussion around the room about these innovations. And I think honestly, this was the most important thing that we did, because it really did facilitate the generation of ideas. So for example, one agency would say, oh, this could be considered an innovation that we've done. It'll give an idea for another agency. Oh, we've done something like that. And they also don't exactly realize that that is considered an innovation, and there's value in that innovation. There's also value in sharing that innovation. So that kind of exchanging of ideas, of innovations, and also generation of ideas and innovations, I think is really important. It's something that hopefully moving forward we'll do each year at the LPSA Fall Conference. And I was going to suggest potentially as an idea, I know, of course, the Build-A-Bear Mousetrap competition, they're showcasing these innovations. But this type of exchange back and forth and discussion, I think has a very high value. So I don't know if there's a way maybe NLTAPA or someone else can achieve this kind of value, maybe at a higher level than just the state. Maybe think of something like this regionally. These could be peer exchanges potentially. But this, again, I feel is of a high value event that's not necessarily just about showcasing, but again, the generation of ideas and things that they can take home with them now and potentially use in the field. Okay. Again, I'm going to try to go a little quickly here. So that is what we did again in 2018 Fall Conference. And that, again, was very well received. And that's when we had the idea to develop our local competition. And I'll switch it over to Miss Dina Capone to actually tell about what we did.
All right. Thank you, Chris. So as Chris was saying, that conference in 2018 really was our bullet to get started with being more aggressive in promoting the program. So how did we go about it? It was in January 2019 when we did our full-blown outreach to solicit innovations. By full-blown, I meant we created our own Louisiana brochure. We developed our own Google form where that the locals could use to submit their entries. And we also did one-on-one phone calls and email correspondences with those agencies who actually shared their ideas at the Parish Engineers Fall Conference. We used national guidance and verbiage in terms of submission categories. We didn't change any of that, including the criteria for judging. We used the same thing. We thought, though, that there might have been confusion in categories. I'm not sure about that. So that might have been discouraging as far as getting participants to actually submit their entries. So I wonder if that's the case for other LTAP centers as well, but we found it to be very challenging. In terms of selection of winners, we invited FHWA's project team leader, Mary Stringfellow, and the president of the Parish Engineers and Supervisors Association, as well as our LTAP director, to serve as our judges. So we kind of formalized our deliberation of winners. We tally the scores and everything, and we determined the winner from that process. You can advance the slide, please. Chris? No, slide 11, I'm sorry. And, considering that social media have dominated the World Wide Web, we thought we would launch something new. So we thought about the People's Choice Award, and which basically just looked at the number of likes on our Facebook page. We have an LTAP Facebook, so we posted the submission entries on our page, and we tracked the number of likes. The entry that received the highest or higher number of likes obviously won the award. I meant higher because there were just 2 submissions better than 0, right? So our prizes basically included free LTAP training with lunch. We gave out plaque of recognition at the Parish Engineers Conference, and we also submitted them for the national level competition. So that made the winners be included in the BAM booklet, as I call it, BAM booklet. We wonder if LTAP centers gave out the same, prizes. Should we give more or should we not? And I think that's it. And the last slide for me. Well, the follow-up was a huge deal to us. The constant follow-up via phone calls and email correspondences was very instrumental into us successfully getting submissions. I had to call them one by one. It's an effort that was, that paid off in as much as we wanted to have more than 2 submissions. So we thought we had some really cool innovations from Terrebonne and Washita Parish. And we hope they're taking the lead in resourcefulness would inspire other parishes and municipalities to actually participate in this year's competition, or rather recognition program. We're rebranding it, right? So it's no longer a competition, it's recognition. So we're gonna get more aggressive this year. I was already taking notes what North Dakota and Colorado have done. So we're gonna, steal or borrow or whatever you call it. So that's it. So hopefully we can get more than 2 submissions this year.
Thanks, Dina. And as Dina mentioned, from that brainstorming session in 2018, I think there was like about 12 different innovations that was identified. Dina did contact all those individuals, phone calls, emails, and it was quite difficult just to get these to submit. So that's definitely something that we'll try to improve and overcome. So as mentioned, there was 2. I thought this was kind of interesting. Again, I won't show the video, but again, a similar kind of innovation, but in a different way regarding catch basins. So that was one of our submissions. They were awarded the first place for our local competition. Again, was awarded those prizes that Dina mentioned, also recognized at the LPSA conference. And we were very happy to have an honorable mention in the booklet, the National BAM booklet. And so for a second entry, it did win the People's Choice Award. Again, that was through the Facebook competition. Again, received the prizes, recognition at the conference, and again, very happy to see it was an honorable mention in the booklet. So to reflect, actually, I was very surprised that we are starting out. This is our first significant effort to have our local competition. And I wasn't even involved in it. I started afterwards. So I was reflecting upon what we've done. And it's actually very nice to see correlating to both North Dakota and Colorado's recommendations. Of course, making sure it's local, it's beneficial to your locals. And again, in my mind, that brainstorming session that will hopefully have occur every year was very beneficial to the locals. And it was essentially facilitating innovation. Hopefully that innovation will again turn the gears towards actually being in a state of practice, but not just showcasing innovation, which is kind of what the national competition does, which I understand that. But again, doing something that is going to be definitely beneficial to your locals. I do suggest integrating it like we did into an established process or an event, not necessarily having your own event or your own a statewide showcase. And for us, luckily, we were able to do that with our Ltap partners. That's another suggestion. And then a feedback loop. I actually was trying to get the 2 winners for us, their feedback on how the competition went and how we can improve it. That's obviously something that should be part of the program, is to ensure that you understand and continually evolve, which is what the North Dakota folks identified, evolve your program. And again, something that is the most benefit to the locals. And then I did want to just put, again, for us, there was significant outreach and engagement necessary just to have 2 entries. And I think that's going to be required no matter what your program is. And here's the crawfish ready for the crawfish boil. Okay, so if you do have any questions, I think we're definitely over time, but this is our contact information. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to present, and it was great. We definitely learned a few things from the previous presenters. Thank you, Matt.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And let's give all of our presenters a big virtual hand. And I think particularly for Chris and Dina for responding to the pressure of being on the clock. So I think adjusted well. All right. Well, as promised, we are at our Q&A session, and so I think probably we know each other pretty well. Some of the usernames are easy to guess, others not. But if anybody has a question for any of our presenters, or a Build a Better Mousetrap war story of your own to share, feel free to join in and start the conversation here. And I'll guess while people are thinking about things, Chris.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
I did notice one question in the chat that I can address quickly from our perspective if you want, and that's the timing of the contest.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a little tricky with Federal Highways program being due in June. So what we do in Colorado is we start, our online submission form is up all year long. So technically, if they're on there, they can submit all year long. However, we run the brochure or the promotion side of things from May to August. And then our submissions are due by August 31st. And our advisory board meeting that we vote on is the Friday after Labor Day. So we give the advisory board the submissions on after August 31st. Then we vote on them at September 5th. And then usually the regional contest that Dale in North Dakota is a part of, we coordinate to have the regional state winners to the regional judges by the end of September, beginning of October. We present those awards at the Local Roads Conference, which is the third week of October. And then those winners from our states is what usually we'll submit that following June for the next year's contest. So yes, for us states, the winner might be a 2020 winner for our local contest, but then it's submitted for the following year's national contest.
Interesting. All right, great.
And that's what North Dakota does as well. Ours are from the previous year for the state and regional, and then the following year gets submitted into nationals. So because of the deadline date, yes.
I like how people were sharing ideas, and really none of these ideas that any of us brought forward were our own, right? They were innovations just like Build a Better Mousetrap. And so certainly the posters, we grabbed that from somebody else. Renee, it was interesting, Leanna grabbed your brochure just a couple weeks ago and said, oh, I like that part. That's going in the next one. And so, yeah, grabbing different ideas. The crawfish, oh my goodness, I think that's stellar.
We'll have to get a trophy of a golden crawfish trap, I think.
I was curious, did anyone take the title of the competition seriously and submit an idea for a better crawfish trap, or?
I don't think so.
Read the description. Awesome.
Yeah, they used that branding before, like around prior to 2003. So we should have used it in the current programming, but I don't know.
I like that.
Because the Build a Better Mousetrap, it's really vague to them. It's like, what is that really? I mean, innovations. What types of innovation? That's when you dig deeper to the categories, and all the more they get confused. So yeah, you really have to educate these locals as far as what types of innovations you're wanting to see or to get from them.
Well, Chris and Dana, you did a nice job getting 2 in your last submission. Congratulations. It is not
Thank
easy. It's
you.
never easy. Yeah. Go
Thank
Renee.
you.
And Renee, you have great success with your program. Not easy though, right? Lots of effort.
Right, 2 is a great start, right?
Great start.
Mhm.
And that's why I say try to incorporate showing off those ones you do have and that you have gotten, or even from other states. Like I said, if I'm presenting on a topic, whether it's work zone safety or what have you, then I'll go search. I'll look at those BAM booklets for another state who might have an innovation that's addressed in the presentation I'm expected to do, because there won't be a topic I won't present on that doesn't show a local agency innovation being promoted in to support that session. It can be done, and it doesn't have to be your own state. Like I said, generating great ideas is all we want to do.
Yep, that's right, because we actually used one of your innovations, Colorado, Renee. We included that in our brochure. We also featured something from New York, if I recall, and there was one from Minnesota. So we highlighted innovations from other states when we did our promotional stuff.
We're going to start a program here in Indiana, and I learned a lot today, but I also know that we can borrow from Colorado because we loaned you Peyton Manning for a year. So just saying.
We're done with him.
Well, if we're taking credit for Peyton, I want to speak up too.
Yes. So maybe some sharing there. But I did like how Renee mentioned how you use the categories of the stick. And then in Louisiana, they put some stick members on the awards committee. So that little connection there, I really like, and maybe doing a little bit of both. So that was really kind of very enlightening for me.
Yep.
Other states have programs that are equally as good or better than some of the stuff that's been shared here today. So look at other states, what they're doing. Minnesota is another great example. They actually fund their innovation awards as mature projects and other thought for program development. Lots of good ideas out there.
I was gonna
One of my biggest
Who sponsors your plaques, your trophies and all?
the ones we do for the regional contest, it's paid for by the local roads conference revenue in itself.
Okay.
Yeah, which all of us are in partnership with. And if the conference were ever not in the positive, it's an agreement that the states in our region would divide the cost. But that conference, as Dale mentioned, is up to over 400 participants and local agencies. So it's in the and the conference has thus started to also sponsor the registration for 5 participants from each of our states. So that has taken some of the burden off from us individual states in paying the registration fee. But then I will, as a prize, cover the hotel, the per diem, airfare to get 2 reps from our winning state agency there to South Dakota to receive that regional award.
So that's your major attractor right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that my person who's been doing those plaques for years, I just send her the information that needs to be lasered on it or imprinted on it. And oftentimes if I'm unable to make it to South Dakota, she'll just ship them. So if there's a state who maybe wants those same awards, but doesn't want to deal with having them get done, that maybe, we could just have her do it. It's more work, for her that she's making revenue, and we can investigate that option as well.
They're beautiful. They're even nicer than what they look like on the pictures. They're very nice.
That's the only negative, is they're very hard to photograph. Every year I take new pictures and none of them ever come out really good. We used to put an emblem of the states in our region on that plaque. So in the acrylic portion, we would carve the picture of our states, but then our region grew to too many states. That was too big on the plaque. So we had to take that off. But yeah, the design of it can be up to you.
Thank you.
Matt, I was going to make one comment. I don't know if there's any value in this, but if someone wanted, for example, a local wanted to research local innovations on a particular thing, for example, the catch basin, I think it's quite difficult for them to, on their own, to find these other local innovations either across the state or nationally. Especially nationally, if you look at that, they're organized, by year in booklets. I don't know if it makes sense for our work group or it doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. To maybe have like a searchable database of national local innovations.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. And I think as we got our Build a Better Mousetrap page on the NLTAPA website started, I think that's one of the things we saw maybe as a long-term goal is to start capturing not just the innovations that have moved forward to the national competition or now recognition program, but to try to look at those entries in their entirety. If we have state level entry books or their equivalent, links to websites. But yeah, I think a searchable database would be a great idea. So bring that up in the next work group meeting.
That's an incredible idea. Matt, I'm a little worried. I don't know. I don't know how we did. Ben, I haven't heard from you. And
it's oddly quiet. Yeah.
Dale, I knew that you were going to do that. But first of all, impressive. Congratulations. I mean, this is something at the other level. Therefore, I learned a lot from all of you. The way you address the innovation, the recognition in Colorado, the two that Louisiana also have done, the history. I mean, the history that my friend presented, definitely Christopher, we know a little bit about that history as well. I guess the next step that you have mentioned, probably that database to collect not only the national, everything else needs to be done one step at a time, but that's the positive way to do. And even the plaque, maybe we can have this national plaque taking the work that haven't been done in Colorado. But congratulations. I don't have anything else to add. We do a little bit of those things, but right now I have a Griselle. She's paying attention. We're going to make a survey. I'm going to throw a survey next week because we have new mayors in Puerto Rico. Instead of counties are mayors. We want to share some of the innovations that you've done in the United States and see how we can get them more involved. We have one exactly the same of the catch basin, the same thing we have in Puerto Rico that was presented by Christopher. The same one, same approach. But nevertheless, congratulations, and I hope I can also provide my own contribution in the near future. Thank you, Dale. Thank you. I wanted to talk.
Will you call it Build a Better Crab Trap, Ben, in Puerto Rico?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We can call it Build a Better Crab or Build a Better Lobster. I mean, crab is good enough. Yeah. Thanks, Rich. Good job. Very good. I love it. I mean, today we're making history. You make all of you put a big show. And also, you also recognize Minnesota. We know Minnesota has some as well. I know that Colorado broke all the records on EDC 6 in December. I went to every poster. I was surprised. I knew everything that had been done by Renee. She was there in every step. Congratulations, Renee. Always putting the ladder at a higher level all the time. Congratulations. And Matt, of course, the congratulations for doing this job, and Daniel. This is a team effort. Congratulations to everyone.
Yeah, I'm pleased. I think it's great. We've had a good turnout, and I think it speaks to the level of interest in Build a Better Mousetrap to see that we've had 25 people stick it out for almost 2 hours now without a break, and probably could have gone longer, but maybe it's a good thing we didn't. But if you want to join this conversation and pick things up, you're always welcome to join the Innovation and Implementation Work Group, and we meet every second Monday of the month at 2 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to reach out to Rich or myself if you'd like to sit in on a meeting and see what it is we talk about. We'd love to have more people join the fun. So, all right. Any more questions before we set everybody free? All right. Well, I think understandably, it's been a long session. Thank you for sticking with us. As I said, I'll get a link to this out surely by the end of the week, if not sooner, so that we can share and get folks that weren't able to join us today involved, or if you have people in your center that weren't able to join today, they'll be able to step in and get caught up as well. So thanks to everybody for joining us today. Thanks to our presenters, especially for taking the time to share their stories and inspire others.
I need to make a comment. Comment. In addition to the outstanding innovations, okay, we have an outstanding group of motivators. All the speakers, every one of the speakers, in his own way, motivates this presentation, this series that we have today. Therefore, I need to congratulate everyone. Each one of you brings something else and shows that passion, okay? Therefore, I really need to congratulate all of you, my friends. That was something really from the bottom of my heart, bottom of my heart. I'm very impressed. Congratulations as well.
Well put. All right. Well, thank you again, and we will see you out there soon. All right. Have a great remainder of your week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.